Hey guys, we're going to do a quick lecture on personal branding. So this is the first, part of the course. It's one of the most important parts for everyone to absorb because it has a direct impact on your career, your personal life. Just a really good concept to just make sure you understand and use. So we're just going to go through kind of conceptually what this means, and then just examples of different tactics, things you can do to up your game, in your personal life or professional life. There's a lot of ways that you can approach all of this. So, what a strong personal brand does is it opens doors. It's something that draws attention to yourself. Whether you're a thought leader, you're somebody who wants to, do your own company. When you have something that's clear and consistent in your branding and kind of your identity, people remember you. They recognize you for, what your value is, whether it's expertise or something else. Um, and it's also about your story and kind of what you're sharing with other people, what you're trying to communicate, and the deeper connections that you build from that. You interact with your colleagues, your peers, your followers, your friends. All of that is just a web of different connections and relationships. Where at the center of that, it's your personal brand. And the reality is that you have a personal brand, whether or not you are promoting it or it's a priority for you. All it really is perception. It's how you manage yourself. It's how you manage what sort of identity you're building for other people. And you can do that casually, as most people would do, and not thinking about it much. It's kind of self awareness and who you are. But if you take a meaningful effort and try to build that up with some purpose, or at least some self awareness on who you are, there's a lot of benefits to be had from just taking care of that perception and managing that for your own benefit. Um, Number one, reputation. It's the reputation you have with your friends. It's the reputation you have with your family. And when people talk about personal branding, it's the reputation that they're building. Many times for career stuff, this will be your expertise, whatever it is you do. If you're a plumber, if you're, a marketing person, building trust and credibility that you have, this expertise, you have knowledge to share. That creates a definitive reputation for you that you're able to kind of wrangle and work on. Um, Money. So, that's obviously an important thing for everybody. Um, most people here on this class have a job. Um, Managing your personal brand and kind of how that interacts with your career, professionally, however it is you earn income. It's a vehicle for new opportunities. It's a vehicle for promotion, to be recognized. Um, Again, it's just about managing yourself and how you are building your perception in the context of your workplace and how you use that. Um, Friends is kind of a funny thing here with your personal brand, and everyone has their own identity. Everyone has their own personal brand. If you're more memorable, you have a more definitive identity. People remember you, and I want to say people remember you more than someone who is more ordinary or less defined. A strong, consistent personal brand builds interaction. It catalyzes somebody who's willing to have a conversation with you. And this is very broad, and this really depends contextually on what you're looking to do, what you're trying to achieve with yourself and your identity. So, personal branding a as a field, what most people are going to do with this. Um, it's marketing. It's having a plan. It's building your plan and taking action. And just with everything else in marketing, the first step is audience. This could be employers, it could be clients, colleagues, broader community uh, that you're trying to reach. Understanding who those people are, what they value, and where they're going to engage with you and conversation or hear your message. That's the first step of this whole process. Understanding who they are, who you're trying to reach, will allow you to, number one, reach them. Know where you're going to communicate with them. But most importantly, you're tailoring your message. You're tailoring your identity, what you're communicating to them, and something that speaks directly to their interests and needs. Um, so, consider market research if you want to look at it that far. Um, you can survey your network, look at trends, observe the behavior of others. That could just be looking at like social comments, what people are posting. Um, you can also, kind of look at people that you're trying to model yourself off of. That can be a little bit difficult if you're looking at a wide audience for an influencer, but professionally, that should be a lot easier to kind of understand, who someone is posting to on LinkedIn, what the comments are, what kind of content they're posting. So identity, this is, again, very important. It's like audience. This requires introspection. It requires strategy. This is more than your achievements. It's your personal story. It's what you value, what you're passionate about. What is it going? What is it that's going to set you apart from everybody else that's screaming into the void on their social feed? What are your unique strengths? What are your experiences? Reflecting on all this helps you create an authentic and compelling narrative, and something that is going to resonate with your audience and kind of work with your long-term goals. You could be just trying to aim for a leadership role professionally. You may be seeking to change industries. Maybe you just want to be an influencer. But understanding who you are and how all of that reflects into your planning, your actions, your communication, like that needs to be set in stone. Um, the last thing you want is to just throw stuff like all over the place, and hopefully someone thinks something is interesting. If you don't know who you are and what your values are and what you're trying to project, no one else is going to either. Focus is important. In a lot of things in marketing, having focus, gives you the ability to put in the effort to move the needle per se. In personal branding, having a focus and a niche, and that's a big opportunity to have an impact. Personal brand is different from marketing in that everyone has a personal brand. Everyone is on social media, and from that angle, it is a little bit more competitive, and it is harder to just communicate you as a personality. Carving out a niche and just finding an opportunity to make yourself more memorable helps you stand out. This could be you concentrating on a specific area of expertise where you offer something unique and you're good at it. You may need to re-examine your skills and your experiences and kind of understand what you have to offer. Uh, Look where your unique attributes meet a market need or an interest. This could be a specific industry, it could be a particular skill set or a unique perspective, but just honing in on that allows you to build a very targeted and effective personal brand. Much more effective than just going generalist, is trying to be interesting and aiming for 10 things at once. Um, the underbelly of that is authenticity, and this is something that should be a consideration throughout all of this. Um, it's the cornerstone of a successful personal brand, and there's always been a little bit of that, but it's also very important now. Just all the consumer trends, everything that is evolving in digital marketing. Um, you have to be genuine and true to yourself in your communication. A lot of what we communicate, can be things that are just typed up in social media, and we have a conscious idea of what we're typing, but there's always that part of ourselves that we're not aware of, and uh, we're never going to be completely aware of how somebody else perceives us, whether they believe we're relatable and trustworthy. um, you need to have a real person behind your brand. You need to be true to yourself. Is what that allows you to do, is to communicate that in what you're saying and what you're doing. It's a lot more difficult to communicate something about yourself when it's not actually true. When you're putting up a stage for somebody, and immediately when you turn off the microphone, you're somebody else. There's some convergence in who you want to be and who you are today, but you need to try very hard to be authentic in your actions and your communication. All of that is going to kind of build this perception that you are someone that can be trusted. Your message is sincere. um, you need to reflect your true personality, your values and experiences, and kind of what you say and you do. And some of that takes practice, and other things is just real stories, challenges, your own successes. Just sharing your kind of day to day, and making this whole narrative that you're creating more natural for you. um, People are naturally drawn to honesty, and same thing for brands. Honest expression is going to help you get there without having to try to stage manage every single thing that you're putting out to the world in your social feed and whatnot. The last part of this is consistency, and this is similar to focus. Um, it's related more in general to branding. Um, what you need to do is create a reliable and a recognizable communication style. So this could be tone. This could be kind of the messaging. Um, Consistency creates this sort of recognition. It adds to the trust that you're building. Um, this is something that you should be repeating in your online and offline behaviors. It's not so much that you need to kind of go off of a brand guide for yourself, but you need to have some understanding of kind of how you're presenting yourself, and how that is going to synthesize together for somebody and kind of their understanding of you. And you're not going to know completely like what this perception is that you're building, but doing your best to be consistent in your style, your tone of voice, the words you use, the things you say. It's going to help. And you're not aiming to be perfect, and don't overanalyze everything you do, but just having that as a consideration in the choices you make in your communication and actions is going to help you. So, so those are some probably the most important points that you need to kind of understand for personal branding. Um, I've mentioned this. We've talked about all those different points, but self-awareness is a big part of this. This is your own understanding of your strengths, your weaknesses, your values, what you're passionate about. Um, I mean, and it goes back to the authenticity part of this. Um, when you use self awareness to just really understand who you are, what you have to offer, it makes it that much more likely that you're creating an honest and realistic appraisal of yourself and of what you're able to kind of project onto others and provide them as value. Um, some of this is just understanding like what you have to offer. I mean, if you are a 3D artist or something like that, and you're actually not that great of a 3D artist, well, you know, that's everything is subjective to a degree. But if you're trying to be a leader in 3D art and the stuff you make doesn't stack up to everyone else, like that's not going to help you. You I mean, I personally believe that everyone has dreams and everyone needs to chase after what they believe is their destiny, whatever you want to call it. But you need to be realistic. You need to understand where you stack up. You need to understand what your capability is and have some sort of realistic appraisal of where you're going and what are you actually able to do. um, if you're spending 2 3 years trying to build a personal brand for yourself but it's not getting there, the self-awareness is going to help you understand what the flaws are in your plan, what do you need to change. But most importantly, I mean, you shouldn't spend 2 or 3 years, fiddling around and trying to build a personal brand. You should have that self-awareness and understanding of kind of who you are and what your capability is from day one. The more realistic you are, the more time you're going to save and be efficient in what you're trying to do. Um, Self awareness is, this is a psychology thing. This isn't a psychology class. Just do your best to be, honest with yourself and understand your own capabilities, but also get feedback. What it could also be like feedback about what perception people have, people in your life have built on you. You can ask for specific feedback. I would recommend kind of focusing this more on like the skills and value aspect, not so much like, oh geez, like I'm sometimes I'm rude to other people. Like this isn't about that. This is about just using the self awareness as a tool to build a plan for yourself, or and depending on what you do with this class, maybe build a plan for other people. Um, Motivation is important as well, and a little bullet point here on kind of this energy thing, like what are you passionate about? What are you able to spend 3 hours on and just be absorbed in? And finding those things in your life where you can, just pour yourself out on is going to help you. And there's always going to be stuff that we don't want to do, and that's a big part of life. But finding that thing that inner engine that makes you push harder on certain things, knowing what that is can be a big asset for you. And it's everybody is different in just how they operate. But when you look at some of the most successful people that are uh, using a personal brand for themselves, a lot of those people are very very passionate about certain things, whether it's music or art or politics. And find your strengths, find what you're passionate about, and just understand yourself so that you can just build a personal brand and just use all these components of your identity to your advantage. Um, so just tactically, just a few things here. Um, so your unique value. So ultimately, this is this is going to be a really big part of how far your personal brand is going to like realistically extend on social media. Like, what is the reason someone is going to click on your stuff in a very crowded social media feed? Yes, you have a unique value proposition. That's not really the way that we think about things for a personal brand, but you need to look at the marketplace and wherever you are, and just consider how you are setting yourself apart in this very competitive market. So this could be a unique skill. This could be just your approach to problem solving, whatever niche you're trying to fill. um, Something about your personality and experience is going to help you here, but really this is more of a mechanical outline of kind of what your expertise is, what your value is that you are going to um, put on someone's social feed, and just, try to convince them like, hey, this is good stuff, this is something you should follow me for, this is something that is going to add to your life. A lot of times this could be related to your work, your achievements. You're really good at marketing or TV production. um, and look for like tangible, real things, things that are going to have some credibility behind it. If you just show up and say, I'm an expert and so and so, I mean, you can do that, and that's one of the powers of this democratic, YouTube revolutions. Anyone can be an expert, but it's going to help you be an expert, and convince someone that your whatever you're saying has value when you have some credibility and experience that shows what you're talking about. So personal brand audit is a popular uh, tool in a realm of personal branding. So a lot of the personal branding coaches talk about this. So, I mean, you can do this as a mental exercise. You don't necessarily need to, get out a piece of paper and list everything out. But I mean, you should be doing some sort of health check on your professional image. So just critically assess how you're perceived, whether this aligns with what you would like your personal brand to be. So look at your online presence, the content you're sharing, networks you're part of, any feedback you've received. Is being able to look at this holistically is going to identify the areas of improvement, excuse me, and opportunities to strengthen your personal brand. So this could be a regular exercise, just being vigilant on how you can refine your messaging, update your digital profiles. Sometimes we just don't check this stuff or think about it. So um, I would recommend that you do this to some degree, whether or not you have ambitious big goals for your personal brand. That could really dictate how seriously you take this, but this is also part of that self-awareness, who you are, what your strengths are, realistically, like where are you going to go? So, so this is really important, and word of mouth is at the heart of pretty much everything that we cover in this class. This is the oldest marketing, per se. I mean, this is when cave people were figuring out fire. I mean, this everything starts from word of mouth. In our case, effective networking, direct engagement with other people. This is a crucial part of just amplifying your personal brand. Um, it's not so much making the connection as it is just building a meaningful connection. Having that conversation and Just making a new friend, meeting someone, like, that's the first part of the process. Um, you need to continue that conversation and nurture that relationship. Um, just like anything in your life, just thoughtful conversations, paying attention to people, listening, and again, in the case of personal branding, sharing insights, supporting people, having value. Networking is a two-way street. It's as much about what you're going to offer as it is on what you're going to gain from that relationship. So just consider online, offline opportunities. Um, we're still in this kind of wacky post-COVID world, so there's a bit of a lull in like industry events still, but there's definitely opportunities depending on your space. Meet people, build connections. Every interaction that you have is an opportunity to create, reinforce that brand, build your reputation. Your goal in many cases, and depending on what you're doing, is becoming a familiar and respected voice in the community. At some point, you move out from speaking with individual people and just kind of imagining, you have this audience in your head, to actually having an audience, actually having people, look at you from afar, and kind of know who you are. And that's, everyone has their own definition of kind of making it, but when you have a voice and your opinion is seen and recognized, that's a pretty definitive way of just measuring a personal brand. Um, so in networking, just build these connections, engagement. Um, when you when you communicate, you have a lot of choices that you can make on where you can send your message. So, and this really depends on the field, but everything is game and digital. So social media, um, for kind of the professional focus, you just may want to focus on LinkedIn, but um, every industry has kind of unique, uh, let's say, unique media destinations. Being where they are sometimes may make a lot of sense. Right now everyone's pretty much everywhere, so it could be that you take kind of a 360-degree approach, and just try to just have a voice everywhere. You may be spreading yourself a little bit thin, but participating meaningfully, um, I think that is probably the best approach. If you can manage a bunch of social networks, and then blogging and website stuff on top of that, is brilliant. That's great. If you are sharing something that has value, if your communication has value, that's really what matters. Look at opportunities to write articles, look at opportunities to collaborate. Collaboration is something that we look at in a lot of this course as an opportunity to just expand your audience. Since day one in Instagram and all these platforms, the collaboration, the shout outs to other handles, that's always been an effective strategy, and it's still an effective strategy. Two people are very often more effective than one, and in the case of digital media, you gain an audience. You both have opportunities and advantages that work better together than alone. When you use some of these media destinations like a blog or a newspaper, or even just a handle as a platform for yourself, that's where you're really burnishing and building that large scale audience reputation. when your goal is to become a familiar and respected voice, you need to be collaborating with other media destinations. Oh, cool. So it looks like this lecture got cut off, so I guess there'll be 2 videos here. So there's just a few slides left here. Like tactically, you look at um, which social handles, or excuse me, social networks are going to make sense for you. So LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter. Um, you can focus on everything, but usually it makes sense to just put your weight into where you can have an impact. So, looking at the different social platforms, Facebook is, unless you are just a wide wide scale influencer, I guess we can call it that. Like you're, a singer, or you're trying to be a media personality, like Facebook would make sense for most people, especially if this is just a career thing. Like, yeah, they'd probably just, keep it private, maybe add some friends on there. Some people are really keen on separating their personal and professional life, so Facebook may not be welcome in some cases by what you consider your audience. There's a lot of people on there, so reach is a consideration. Same thing with Instagram. Instagram, in the same sense, everybody's on there. There are some very specific industries that Instagram may be more relevant for. So, for example, if you're an artist, Instagram would be a place where you should spend time just building your credibility, building new connections. It's just a place where that community congregates, and so it really depends on what the focus is. Um, so LinkedIn, LinkedIn makes sense for everybody. It's just the professional network for whoever. If you have any sort of professional focus, you should be on there. In fact, I cannot imagine some sort of scenario where, unless you're like targeting a lifestyle thing and making funny videos, for anything else professional like LinkedIn, that you should be on there. You should be communicating to people. It's also just a repository for your contacts. So if anything else, just use it for that. So YouTube, if you are creating videos, if you are creating longer videos where it makes sense for you to do that, great. YouTube will be a very effective use of your time. And if you spread yourself too thin, if you try to do a lot of other stuff, if you're trying to communicate on every social network, you're probably not maximizing your impact. So that would just be a consideration, unless video is for some reason a special focus for you. I would not necessarily invest a lot of time in that. TikTok, so if you're doing short form video, if you're trying to build a personal brand where a young audience and short form video is going to matter, then do it. Otherwise, it's going to be a lot of time. It's going to be your effort and energy. Just be mindful in the choices you make. So Twitch, probably just makes sense for a gaming lifestyle thing. There's not much else that is really pushing someone to use this. And then Twitter. So Twitter is interesting. So there's some corners of the world where Twitter matters. So for example, technology and journalism. This is a very active part of Twitter. So if your industry, if your focus means that like Twitter is a place where your peers, other respected voice in the community congregate, then you should spend some time on that. Otherwise, you can skip it. Twitter, Twitter is not dying yet. To my surprise, I thought after Elon Musk bought it, things would be very different. But despite all the wacky changes, it's still alive and well. And so, last thing here is Pinterest. Yeah, Pinterest is interesting if you're like a arts and crafts influencer, or maybe a designer or something. It would make sense, but most cases probably worth skipping. I actually use Pinterest all the time, just to look at art, but I don't like promote myself on there. In fact, I think my account is like penalized. I uploaded Amazon affiliate links at one point, and that was a bad idea. Don't do that. So, um, so we gone through social networks. Just a few more things. So LinkedIn is going to be, the first impression of a lot of people that you meet digitally. Uh, make that moment where someone is going to see you and read your background worth their time. Well optimized profiles should showcase your skills, your achievements. Spend the time to put in a nice photo, write a compelling summary. Highlight your achievements. That I think for a lot of people is difficult because they're like, oh man, I don't have any achievements, or my job sucked. Well, there is the creative writing aspect of this that just takes practice. There's a lot of different ways to express what you did and how that was interesting in your job. And if it doesn't come out, or you need some help, you just keep practicing, just get other people to give you some feedback. The point is that there's definitely a way to make your profile shine in terms of your accomplishments. You just need to just practice, use different language. And sometimes people have pretty legitimate achievements. Maybe it's easy, but if it's not, then just keep shining, and after a number of edits, like you'll get there. This is your digital resume. It's a platform for storytelling. So just use that opportunity to share your professional journey. So beyond the basics, share content, participate in discussions. LinkedIn is a platform that will benefit you when you use it. So you can kind of hang out and just make some connections, but sharing stuff, commenting on other people's posts, like that's what's going to let you maximize what that platform does for your career, and what it does for your relationships. And don't forget to individually message people. Just keep up to date with where people are, what they're doing. You're going to meet a lot of people in your career, and this is a repository of everyone you've met. And if you want to use it to nurture those relationships, it's going to help you. So, just a few things here. So, headline. Headline. I think a lot of people over optimize that, but just put something in there that is going to describe you. It can be eye catching. I don't think it's necessarily a deal breaker unless you're like really gunning hard for a new job, or just more organic impressions. Not a huge deal. Summary and experience. So just use your creative writing skills here. Education. Anything that you can put in there that is superfluous, then you might want to hold back. I wouldn't put that you were in like anime club and like 30-year soccer or something like that in your like education profile. Just in the basics is fine. Skills. Um, Skills, I think, is a feature that LinkedIn might go a little too heavy on sometimes. It doesn't necessarily reflect in organic visibility, or I would say maximizing skills and just putting in a ton of keywords, but it's worth taken care of. Oh, and I see. Oops, did I just repeat? Oh yeah, I had a repeat section there. So um, yeah, so optimize your profile the best you can. If you're gunning really hard for a new job or organic visibility, then I would spend more time with the keywords. But sometimes less is more, and I would say you might be better off with a gentle touch on all of this, just spending some time with it, than you will be just going as heavy as you can on each section. So, like I mentioned before, just looking at other people that have been successful, and we're trying to be modeling yourself off of how they communicate their content. That's generally going to work well for you. So, search results. Yeah. So the reality is that people are going to look you up. Uh, it's probably more than 70%. It's definitely like 95% of your dates. People are going to look you up. Be mindful of what's on there. If there's something that you don't like or is not going to work with what you'd like as your narrative, you have an opportunity in some cases to get rid of that. There is a way you can remove negative content, but it it really depends on like what is actually on there. But I would say it's less likely to not get removed. Oh, and excuse me. It's probably not going to get removed. Is what I'm trying to say. Depending on what it is, if it's just something like general, like negative and not nice, or just something that you don't want on there that doesn't look good. That's not what that search removal feature was made for. That's for like defamation sort of stuff. Uh, if you were an EU citizen, it's a little bit different. You have more leverage there. In most cases, what you should be doing here is, number one, clean up your social profiles. If that stuff comes up and there's things on there that you don't want, either hide it or get rid of the stuff you don't want. For many people, the negative content, the only path for them to push that down is just creating new content. So be strategic with kind of what you're doing in your long-term planning, in the sense that when you involve yourself more and you do stuff that may come up in search results, it's going to help you. So uh, for example, like volunteering with like a charity or something like that is a very good thing to have in your search results. Well, if you want that on there, do charity stuff. You're I don't know if it's going to be a very savory way to approach that whole thing by asking them, "Hey, do you guys like put my name on a website, like with the intention of, you like getting that in your search results?" Like probably not the best way to approach that, but just creating these different opportunities is going to let those search results, sprinkle their way down to, this kind of impression that someone has of whatever is on there right now. Very frequently, the misconception with people who have a problem with their search results is that they can make their own website and their content, or I'm going to have a blog and write about stuff. Well, you can certainly do that, but number one, it takes some time to get up there, and number two, it's probably like the least effective way of doing this. Like go sign up for a marathon. Like that's how you should be doing this. Like I don't know if that marathon is going to show up in search results, but that's the sort of stuff that is going to populate a positive sentiment search results profile for your name. Um, and you may want to consult someone like very like specifically who does SEO stuff if you have an actual problem with this. But most likely, the best way to approach this is to just be strategic in creating opportunities for yourself, and just clean up what you are able to on your own profiles and content. Um, So yeah, last slide. In general, personal branding. It takes experience. It takes practice for you to create uh, efficient way of working. Um, you know, we are creatures of habit. We are, uh, our brain likes to operate subconsciously. Like that's like a science thing where it's, the brain wants to conserve energy, and things that we can make into habits and not have to like consciously think about, like that. That's what our brain wants. And the more posting you do on LinkedIn, the more often you're thinking about your personal brand, the easier it's going to be for you to do this over the long term, and just be consistent about how you're communicating. Practice makes perfect. You're not gonna, get everything right the first time. It might not always be smooth, but over the long term, if you're building your personal brand, if you're communicating professionally and just building an audience, it's gonna get like the road gets a lot easier. So it's really like the point here. Um, so that's about it. If you guys have any questions specific to your own circumstances, your own personal branding stuff, please just ask. Totally happy to share my opinion. Help you with your LinkedIn profile or whatever you need. All right, thanks, guys.